Field, I know you think you're recording with Mike Butler tonight, but actually, in reality...
You Jerry Orbach? What are you doing?
It won't come off.
Oh, boy. We're doing FX.
Ladies and gentlemen, please notice that exits are conveniently located at the front and rear of this auditorium. When leaving the theater, we suggest that the exit at the front of the auditorium will allow you easier access to the parking areas. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mike Butler.
And I'm Mike Field.
And you're listening to Forgotten Cinema. Each episode, we highlight a film that, for a variety of reasons, was forgotten by audiences. Whether it be because a more popular movie was released at the same time, or the film simply didn't catch on with an audience in its initial run. We'll discuss what we love about the movie, or maybe don't love about it, but we'll always recommend you revisit it. You never know, you might find your own forgotten gem. If you enjoy Forgotten Cinema, we want to hear from you. We're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. We're available on all platforms with a backlog of over 250 episodes for your listening pleasure.
What's going on?
Nothing, I gave up acting to become a special effects artist, and it turns out. What?
Was he an actor in this?
No, I was just adding myself.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
I blew up your spot.
That's okay, but I became a special effects artist, and
right.
I was doing really good work. Somebody came to me and said, I did such a good job. They want me to fake a true assassination of a mob informant so that they can put him into witness protection. I reluctantly agreed to do this, and it turns out that it was all a setup. I was going to be a patsy, and I'm pretty sure I accidentally killed the mobster myself, and things are just going real bad for me right now. But I'm going to figure it all out. I'm going to get to the bottom of it, because if there's one thing a special effects artist is really good at, it's beating up bad guys and getting to the bottom of a murder.
He's really smart, Butler.
He is.
They say that he's super intelligent.
Super smart.
Super intelligent. This is FX. That's right. We are doing the Bryan Brown star. Who? Exactly. You don't know who it is. The 1986 film starring Bryan Brown, of course, and Brian Dennehy, the two Bryans. We got a little Jerry Orbach in there, but we'll get into all that stuff. We'll get into the facts, and then we'll talk about the movie. Mike had never seen it, but I have, right? Correct.
I have never seen it. No, we have talked about it on the podcast.
All right.
Numerous times.
Well, let's get into it then. Let's stop chit-chatting. FX, runtime of 109 minutes. Rated R. Production budget of $10 million. Came out on February 7th. 1986, always a great time of year to come out with a movie. Opening weekend, it did $3.2 million. Domestic, it did $20.6 million. International didn't have one, or maybe, I don't know why, because you have an Australian actor in there, but whatever. Worldwide, $20.6. So doubled its budget, but probably is not in, probably is in the black after
VHS.
Yeah, stuff like that. No production company, produced privately, I guess. Distributed by Orion Pictures. Do you remember Orion Pictures? Because I do.
If you've seen RoboCop, you know Orion Pictures.
Exactly. This film came out on the 7th of February, so let's go back to the 31st of 1986, January, that is. Youngblood in a wide release. Eliminators. The Best of Times, which is an episode we did, Butler.
Hey.
Power. And then actually Down and Out in Beverly Hills and Murphy's Romance. You had 6 films in a wide release that's a
lot.
That sounds like, let's dump all these films
throwing shit against the walls.
Yeah, I know, exactly. This movie went up against in a wide release, The Color Purple, which I'm very surprised that had a February release. I'm wondering if it's wide release because it came out prior for Oscars.
For Academy Award
That's
season, maybe. Yeah,
accurate. Yeah, a limited release of Hannah and Her Sisters, which is probably again another thing that came out in the later in the year,
earlier in the year,
85, yeah. And then Lady Jane, the 14th, the weekend after, Valentine's Day weekend, obviously a wide release of course, the Delta Force, which we have talked about on our last season's episode.
Yep.
Classic Valentine's Day movie. Quicksilver, Wildcats, with the Goldie Hawn film, Terror Vision, and La Cage Fall 3, The Wedding, which we talked about. Go back to our Delta Force episode. We kind of talked about all this stuff, and I don't want to do it again, so go back to that episode. This movie is directed by Robert Mandel, who's done School Ties, The Substitute. He did The Rage Carrie too, but then he was fired, so he has an uncredited. He's uncredited on that.
School Ties, is that one we did?
School Ties we did not do, but School Ties is with Brendan Fraser. Is that right?
I think I know what you're talking about.
It's kind of like Dead Poet Society a little bit.
Yep.
Okay. This film was written by Robert T. Megginson and Gregory Fleeman. Menkensen has done Pelvis and Manifestations of Shiva, and Fleeman has not done anything else. This is pretty much his only credit.
Because they're not really.
They're not
screenwriters.
They are. I have that fact, Butler. Fleeman was an actor, and then Menkensen was a documentary filmmaker, and they pitched this spec script thinking it would be a good TV series, and then the producer was like, "No." This producer Jack Weiner said, "No. I think this would be," or Weiner, not probably Weiner, said that I think this would be a better feature film,
right?
Or a TV movie, but it ended up became a feature. So that's kind of how they found themselves in this situation. Cinematographer was Miroslav Ondricic. I think it's Ondricic. You're looking at me like you don't even.
Just go for the first guess and just move through.
I don't know. I'm being respectful. You staring at me vacantly doesn't help. He was nominated for 2 Oscars, Amadeus and Ragtime, and he also did Hair. Composer was Bill Conti, who was nominated for. He won an Oscar for The Right Stuff, and it was nominated for Your Eyes Only, the song.
Yes.
And Rocky.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. Rocky.
I'm gonna fly now. Terry Rollins is editor, nominated for an Oscar for Chariots of Fire. He's also done Alien and U.S. Marshals, which is an episode we did.
We did do U.S. Marshal, and we did Alien on our lead-up series.
Right.
Check it out on our Patreon.
All right. Sorry about that shill moment. Just
shill it all.
Produced by Jack Weiner, like I said before, and Dodi Fayed. If that name sounds familiar, Butler, who's Dodi Fayed? He has no idea.
I mean, the name does sound familiar.
No idea. He's in one of the most famous crashes in Europe. He dies.
Oh, he was Princess Diana's boyfriend.
Thank you. Well, if you watched The Crown, they were breaking up. But yes.
I did not watch The Crown.
He was in that fateful.
They were breaking up? Oh my God.
He was in that fateful crash that took the life of Princess Diana and also took his life as well. Well, you need to learn about your history. Come on. But he was also a producer. That's what
I did not know he was
before all that stuff, he was trying to make his way as a producer in California and Hollywood. Anyways, he has produced Hook. He also is the executive producer of The Scarlet Letter. Weiner has done The Eagle Has Landed and Escape to Athena. All right, this film has a big cast, but it's like a lot of people in this movie, but there's probably a lot of people that you don't know about. They're older actors or they're just not big names. But I'm going to go through them real quick because they have pretty much they're pretty.
They were big names back then.
Influential in the movie though too. Yeah, but also I don't want to they have lines and they do stuff, so I don't want to So Bryan Brown plays Roland Tyler, or Raleigh, as they call him. He's in Cocktail. He's the guy that mentors Tom Cruise in Cocktail. Mm-hmm. He's also in Gorillas in the Mist, Along Came Polly, and more recently, Anyone But You, the Sydney Sweeney, I'm blanking on his name,
Glenn
Powell film, which I did watch. You didn't watch that, did you? I watched it.
No, why would I want to watch it?
Why would you not want to watch it? It's a movie. Why don't you like movies?
I do like movies.
Brian Dennehy has Leo McCarthy. He's in First Blood. Cocoon, Silverado, and Tommy Boy, of course. Diane Venora as Ellen. She is the girlfriend of Raleigh. She's the actress that is in the movie in the beginning of the film. She's in Ironweed, Heat, and The 13th Warrior. Cliff DeYoung as Lipton. Lipton is one of the other guys that works at WITSEC that's trying to signs up Raleigh for this mission that Butler talked about. He's in The Craft. He plays the father in The Craft of Nev Campbell.
Oh, he does.
Yes, he does. He's also in Glory, an episode we did, and Flood of the Navigator. Mason Adams as Colonel Mason from Son-in-Law. He's the older grandfather in Son-in-Law. He's also in the TV show Lou Grant and The Final Conflict, which is the Omen sequel that renamed. But you know what, Butler? You know who he really is? Because every time I heard him talk on the screen, I just wanted to hear him tell me about Smucker's Jelly, because he's the voice of Smucker's Jelly back in the 80s and 90s. And I'm like, oh my God, just say it once. Just say it once, Mason. Jerry Orbach as Nicholas DeFranco. We all know, if you're fans of the show, you know that I am a big Jerry Orbach fan from Law & Order, Dirty Dancing, and Beauty and the Beast. Joe Gravasi as Mickey, Presumed Innocent, and The Naked Gun, the movie The Naked Gun, the first one. Martha Gayman as Andy. She is Raleigh's assistant.
Yes.
She gets caught up in this thing. I'm like, geez, Andy didn't even do anything.
He kind of forces her to get caught up in it. I don't want you to get hurt, but also go get all the supply and help me blow up this car park.
I should go back and say, or back DeFranco. DeFranco's the guy that Butler was talking about, that they were trying to kill.
The mobster informant, right?
And Colonel Mason Adams is Lipton's boss. So he's in the WITSEC thing. Joe Gravasi as Mickey is the partner of Leo McCarthy, Brian Dennehy's character. Sorry, I wanted to get that in there. Andy, like we said, is Raleigh's right-hand person. She's in Practical Magic and Father of the Bride. Trey Wilson as Lieutenant Murdoch from Raising Arizona. They got Yodas and shit on there. And Bull Durham. You lollygag in the infield. You lollygag in the... Okay, anyways. Roscoe Orman as Captain Wallinger. He is the boss of McCarthy. He's in striking distance. I couldn't tell you which part. But but here's the thing, Butler. I'm on IMDb Pro. And when you're on IMDb Pro and you have these actors and actresses, they always give you the overview of the top 4 big things they're in.
They seem very random.
Here's the thing. Usually they're a little accurate. They usually go by like how popular their movie is, not what their role was.
Right.
But you have Roscoe Orman, who is clearly Gordon in Sesame Street, and he's in like over 600 episodes, and that's not in the overview.
It's not in any of them?
No, you have to go down to his TV section. You're like, oh, it's Gordon. Like that's like his biggest role. Come on, man. Be better, IMDb Pro. Be better. Josie de Guzman as Marissa Velez, who is more of a Broadway star. She's really good in this, but she's a Broadway star. She's not a movie star. And she's in FX2, the sequel, which there is one, which we'll talk about. And then you have a couple of people in there that you would recognize, like Tom Noonan as the guy that's the big, tall agent that's chasing them, that he pushes into the water when he's with the boats. He's in Last Action Hero, which is an episode we did. Mm-hmm. Angela Bassett's in there for a hot second, which I totally did not find her, but she's the TV reporter.
I saw that too. I was like, I didn't remember her.
And then we have an X-Files that reference in here, Butler. The ambulance driver is James Pickens Jr. From the X-Files. The got boss of Skinner's boss, who we all hate.
Right. Yeah.
He's in this as well. Anyway,
Noonan is in the X-Files as well in an episode, right?
Who?
The tall.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah, he's also
X-Files. I'm talking about like in the
major.
I'm not talking about guest stars. Come on, guest stars. I'm not talking about that. All right. So like I said before, I had seen this film. I remembered liking this film quite a bit. But I will be honest that I remember more of FX2 than I do of this film. So that could be shaded there. But you had never seen it, Butler. So let's kind of get your initial reactions on how you thought about this film, and the floor is yours. I like to talk much.
It's
oh boy,
it's
rough
not
and rolling now.
It's not a great film.
Whoa,
but the pieces are cool,
oh boy.
And I enjoy the premise more than I maybe enjoy the plot. Mm-hmm. I think the cop stuff's cool. I like how it's not super realistic. It's very like cop on the edge, kind of like he's the cop nobody likes because he doesn't work by the rules, but the rules are there, and they mention you can't do this, you can't do that, and I'm like, I like that kind of stuff. Like when they first break into Raleigh's apartment, they're like, well, let's go back in because we don't have any reason to be in here.
Leo and Mickey.
Yeah, because they bust in and he's like, well, let's go back because we're on a probable cause. And he's like, oh, well, we're in here. Yeah. We'll get the warrant. If we find anything, we'll make up something.
Dirty cops.
Yeah, I was like, but I like that they mention it because every other movie, they're just like, bust down the door and they're like, we don't need no warrant. And they walk around. Yeah. It's like, at least in this one, they're like, oh, well, we kind of need a warrant.
I should have said dirty cop. They put loose with the rules.
Yeah, they're not dirty cops. Yeah. I mean, have you seen his apartment? He's kind of
dirty in terms of cleanliness.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
So I like that kind of stuff.
Sexual assaulter on the job, but that's okay.
I like right. I like Raleigh. I just think Raleigh is. Oh, we'll get into character, but yeah, overall, like the movie is decent. It's very late 1980s, early 90s kind of like action fare. So I'm like, I'm surprised I've never seen or heard of this movie before you started talking about it. Because like, really? If I have like problems with it now, but if I grew up with this movie, like I probably should have. Like I'm surprised I didn't watch it. This would be a movie I'd have watched a lot as a kid because it's about a special effects guy who likes movies, who gets caught up in something and has to use his movie knowledge to fight crime. I would have watched the crap out of this movie as a kid. So I'm surprised this is my first time seeing it. So in terms of that, I like it. But in terms of plot, there's a lot that I have issues with. But overall, I enjoyed it. And I'm excited to watch FX2.
Are you going to watch FX2?
I probably will.
When?
I don't know.
I mean, come on, let's be honest. You're not going to watch it. You're never going to watch it. I'll watch it before you watch it again. All right. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. The plot's kind of, like there's some stuff that happens that I don't, I kind of questioned, and we can talk about that. But let's go through the characters first. because that's kind of like how we've been doing these things lately. I am actually a huge fan of Dennehy as Leo McCarthy. Did I say McCarthy? Is that his name?
It is now.
Is it McCarthy? Yes, as Leo McCarthy in this film. He's such a jerk, but he's so like, he's like, I did get the chef for Christ's sake. You shafted me when he's yelling at his boss. I'm like, damn, tell him. But like, he's so like just gruff and rude, and he doesn't care, and he's just like, I'm just doing my job. Shut up, let me do my job.
Yeah.
Like, and I have no problem with him, and I really just like him in this movie. I like Brian Dennehy, and I don't know if it's Brian Dennehy, like that's him in this film, or it's the character. Like I couldn't really decide whether it's just he's putting a lot of himself in this, because I'm trying to think about other films he's in.
It really seems like he's putting a lot of Brian Dennehy in it, but it's probably also written that way.
But I'm trying to think about him and Tommy Boy, and like, I'm like, you know, it's a comedy, so you can't really do it. So I think that it's just like in First Blood, he's the bad guy. In First Blood, he's just kind of like, he's got that real under the surface. There's just that kind of like hatred for, you know, the
Veterans
town getting messed up, and just the status quo getting effed up and stuff like that. So
right,
he's like, so there's that there. And then in Cocoon, he's a good guy in Cocoon. He's one of the aliens. So he's just kind of like really like low key and I don't want to say calm, but he's just not like amped up like he is here.
Right. Yeah.
So, but like, I prefer my Brian Dennehy to be like Leo McCarthy. I think he's such I don't want to say badass. He's such a like, I don't give a shit kind of dude. And I was like, so I really liked him in this. On the flip side, Raleigh, Bryan Brown, like I got like, and the best thing I can say to you, the best comp I can give you is my same issue with Reynolds and Deadpool is my same issue with Bryan Brown as Raleigh here. It's like, at some point, turn off the shtick. At some point, can you just stop being this asshole, wisecracking dude and like take something seriously? Like, it's like he talks really fast when you meet him, and he's just making these wisecracks. He's treating his assistant like garbage.
Treats everybody like garbage.
And that's fine. I'm okay with like that kind of like being in the beginning. And then he does kind of get serious at the end, but it's to save his own skin. It's to save his own life. And it's to make sure that he is not wanted anymore. But like, he never has that moment with Andy where he's like, he just dumps her, his assistant, because he doesn't want her involved anymore. You get why he's doing it. But he never has the conversation with her. Like, listen, I'm a jerk. I'm an asshole. I'm so sorry that this has happened. I've treated you like garbage. You are the best assistant. Like, he doesn't have that conversation with her. And I don't like, that. So to me, his character has no character development in terms of the relationships with the people around him. I mean, he gets his girlfriend killed.
He does. And he's always kind of a jerk to her, like not maybe a jerk, but he's always very dismissive the entire time. And it's like, first of all, you're a special effects artist dating a semi-famous actress. Like,
yes. And if you're exactly, that's going to be big news. And also like, so if you're going to be that way in the beginning of the film, it's not enough that, yes, you get serious when you're trying to, like I said, you're trying to
vindicate yourself.
Vindicate your name. But you got to have some kind of communication about your relationships with these people around you that have basically risked their lives to help you, and it's just kind of like, nah, forget that. That's not this movie, and that's fine. But like, that's a problem now. That's an issue with me because I have a tough time connecting with Raleigh in this film. In the second watch, I'm just kind of like, all right,
your main guy shouldn't be a jerk. Well,
right.
that's the thing. Like, you even talk about like how he does all the shtick, so you don't like Deadpool, but at least Deadpool had Vanessa, and he was very nice with Vanessa. Like, he loved Vanessa, and Raleigh, I don't think he loves anyone but himself.
Okay, so now I don't want to go down the Deadpool lane. I don't want to do this, but I'm going to. I agree with you. But then there's the moment at the end of Deadpool, the first one, when she takes off the mask and he has the Hugh Jackman staple to his face. Like, in case you didn't like that face, it's like that completely kills. That's for the joke, and it kills that moment. I can't stand that. But go ahead.
But regardless, he's got that kind of sympathetic arc in terms of like, he's got feelings for her.
Yeah.
Raleigh, I don't think he has feelings for anybody but himself. He's only about Raleigh the entire time.
And that's fair, and I agree with that. But that's not something for your lead actor should be.
No, he needs to change. Right. He needs some kind of redemption arc. You need to he can't just be a jerk because you can't root
He's
for
got
a
to
jerk.
learn something. Yes. And to go back to my point about Leo, the reason why I like Leo is because, and yes, I joked about how he kisses Maria on the Velez on the mouth. Oh,
Right.
thank you. But like, I can tell just with Leo's interactions with the cops and even the bad ones, he loves being a cop.
Yep.
And he loves getting the bad guys. Like, and I know that. And it's like, that's why I connect with that, because I'm just like, I get him. I get what this guy's doing and I love it. And it's like, with Raleigh, I'm just like, you're the lead, and I'm like not really, like Butler says, it's just like I don't care because you don't care.
And it's also like the whole time it's like he so effortlessly avoids getting captured and killed. His skills, like he has a one-on-one fight with an assassin and he wins by throwing cardboard boxes at him. And then then he wins like just in terms of just pure skill. It's like, and he takes out an entire mansion full of it's not too many guys, but he wins. He invades the mansion.
Well, like it's kind of like that's back then they don't have like I think we talked about this with, I don't know if we talked about this or maybe I talked about somebody else, but like this is an older film. They don't have choreographed stunt guys and stuff like that.
I get that.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. But also, how is it not a huge red flag that the guy that works in a government job, Colonel Mason, has this giant compound? Like, you don't think he's getting money from some, like, where did this money come from?
Right, yeah.
Like, like he's like Dan Hedaya in Commando, and it's not like, but like he's just like a civil servant. Like, so I don't.
Here's another. Why is he Colonel Mason? He works for the FBI.
I don't know. No idea.
No FBI. Hi, FBI agent Colonel Fox Mulder. That's not how it works.
Why do we have scenes with him and Lipton where they're pretending to be mad at each other? He's like, how did I do? Like, why do I give a crap about this inner office stuff?
I don't. Yeah, I was like, I don't need to see them ask how each other did at the end, or just don't put that in there. I don't. Right. I get it.
Mm-hmm. I think when I watched this film back in the day, and even now, the stuff that attracted me to the film is the movie making aspect of it. Obviously, it's the FX and the special effects,
right? Yeah,
and that's the kind of like, oh, it's movie stuff and it's cool. But watching it now, that stuff doesn't really do it for me like it did when I was younger.
It's not enough.
No, totally.
I mean, it still does it for me. Like, I still like some of the stuff.
Right. And I kind of wish, I kind of wish the references they made
were to real movies.
Yes, because I cannot connect. What did you use when she throws the giant smoke bombs? I said to use the iceberg, whatever the movies were.
Yeah.
They're making up names of movies. And I'm like, and he's like, oh, I just remembered Mommy, like that stuff. Like, I don't know these films. And I'm pretty sure you probably could just use those films. You're in you're Orion Pictures. You don't have other Orion Pictures you can reference. So I think that hurts this. Like, if you're remaking this, you need to connect it to the real world.
Oh man.
What's up?
I definitely want to see this. Yeah, we can get into that. But
no, that's fine. But that's what I'm saying. Like, there needs to be some kind of connection, just so that we can be, and maybe because we live in the world of meta more a little bit now, and everything's connected.
But we could cheer for it more and be like, oh yeah, a little like yeah. I also don't think he used the effects enough. Like, I know there were some, and it looks like in FX2 he uses a lot more. But I think that, like, I'm waiting for him to use his special effects stuff, waiting for him to use, and he turns himself into a hobo. Okay. And then it's not until the end where he really
when
uses
he takes the homeless
stuff.
elevator up, like when they come out of the grates and they're like, "What is this?"
And no one's like questioning it.
Is this just like, is this a homeless escalator that you're going to your job now? Like, what is happening here? Like,
that's Slum City. Everybody knows about Slum City in the middle of the financial district of Manhattan.
Well, that's my other thing too. Like, he runs, so they're getting chased and by Tom Noonan's character Varric, and they go into this a tunnel and. Like, Raleigh knows where he's going. Like, he knows where, like how do you know this stuff? Like, how you know where to go, dude? Like, do you live here? Do you just hang out here with these bums?
Well, maybe the bums told him.
I don't know.
But yeah, you don't see that. So it's like, and he has a lot of stuff in that box.
Right. So you talked about the special effects, and the one scene that they use him a lot, obviously the big scene when he's supposed to kill DeFranco, and he goes in and he's supposed to have, the way they do it is a receiver, and DeFranco's wearing a body armor piece, which I don't know. Obviously you can see it because it's a giant piece.
Yeah, it's covered in squibs.
And it goes off, but then he does kill him, but they don't really. So then they have a fake body in the morgue. So like, this is where it gets hazy.
Well, I think they have a real body, but it's all messed up because it's like, because like Leo says, who's in the morgue? I don't know, take your pick.
Yeah, but then he shoots him in the face, and then he thinks he really killed him. And I'm like, well, number one, why did you saw him messing with the gun? Because then he's like, Lipton was messing with the gun before he got it. It's like, okay, so you didn't check?
Yeah, why wouldn't you double check?
You can't tell the difference between a loaded gun and a gun with blanks. There's different weights. Like
that's your job,
and
right?
And it's like, Mike, you're nitpicking. I go, maybe, but here's the thing. I said it in the beginning of the movie, at the beginning of this episode. Excuse me. He's supposed to be very intelligent. He's supposed to be very smart. This is something that he's dumb for the sake of just he's dumb for the plot point.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can't do it both ways. I'll buy in that he's super intelligent. I'll absolutely buy in that he has an IQ of 160. I'll buy all that. But don't make him do a dumb thing like he can't tell the difference between a gun. The guy's messing with the gun. He doesn't even bother to check it if the bullets are real.
He's so careful about everything. He doesn't trust anything.
Right.
And then he's like,
he can't tell the difference between a squib and a real gunshot. He can't tell that difference
after the first shot. Yeah,
right.
He files six.
He gets in the back of the car. Why is there all plastic in here? Why do you think, dude? Like stuff like that. Like he can't be dumb for the sake of being dumb. And this is not the first movie that's done it, and this won't be the last movie that does it.
Right.
But this will be the same argument I will have. Is like, I will buy into somebody being super intelligent. Just he can't do dumb things. You know what I mean? And I will buy somebody who's really dumb. He just can't be super intelligent. Like, I will buy that.
Were you kind of confused? Like, maybe I missed it, but why exactly DeFranco needed to be protected to begin with, or not protected, but why he set himself up?
I don't know.
Until
who wants him dead.
Yeah, until the very end, and you realize, like, the very last sentence, like 2 minutes before he dies, he goes, "Oh, because you've been stealing from all those mobsters." It's like, we never got that information from the beginning, but I think it would have been helpful for me to know, because the whole movie I'm watching going, so if he's not being put into witness protection, why do I care? Like, why is he not going into witness protection?
Well,
why isn't he just being a mobster?
Well,
why is this helicopter coming to take him away?
So I'm assuming that he doesn't want to be in WITSEC. So he doesn't want to, like, this is my assumption,
right?
That he doesn't want to go off and be in WITSEC because he doesn't want to, maybe he doesn't want to testify. So he made a deal with Colonel Mason and Lipton or whoever to be like, this is off me. Let's pretend I'm dead. I'll split this money with you. And then I'll be dead.
Leave the country,
my life, and you go do whatever you want to do.
Yeah, but it turns out he was embezzling, which we never got that information beforehand.
I don't know.
I remember. Right.
I can't remember if they brought that up. I want to say they did, but you could be right. They probably didn't.
Because I don't remember to the last throwaway line. They go, because you stole all those money from the other mob bosses, and I was like, oh, so that's why he's got to leave the country, and he's not just a mob boss again.
Also, like, I love at the end where Mason's just kind of like, hey, listen, this key opens up the safe deposit box, $15 million.
Yeah, like, when did we know about this?
They need my face there. They only know me. Let's go. Like, that's really easy, Mason. You just got, like, first of all, you're gonna go get in the helicopter, which I don't know where it is. I'm assuming it's on the roof. If not, it's in the backyard, which I would assume the cops have covered. By now. And you're just gonna fly off, and you think you're gonna escape. Like, where are you gonna go?
The dinky little gyrocopter that's probably got a 50-mile range.
Yeah. I don't know. But and then how about this though? How about when Raleigh first goes to the mansion, and I'm like, he starts like setting those guys up, and I'm like, oh, okay, he's not trying to kill them. And then like that turns, he's like, no, he's killing people. Like, I didn't get that. Like, I was like, why are we okay with him murdering people? Like, why is that something that, like, he's still murdering people? Like, when the dust settles and they're like, okay, Raleigh, we know that they set you up, but you did kind of off these three dudes over here.
Well, technically, he didn't off one of them. Noonan killed the other dude.
And I like that scene in terms of, I like the setup.
Right.
But it's so laughable that he's like, I set this up. Like, he's setting something. Like, it's so laughable. Like, it's almost like watching, like, when what's the movie where they follow the kid who wants to be the killer, he wants to be the slasher killer, and like Leslie Vernon.
Oh yeah,
they're following how he's like, oh, and they're doing like behind the scenes of how he trains. Like, it's almost like that. It's like, I don't need to see this. Just set it up.
Just have it done.
You know, like, I don't know the geography of the mansion. I don't know where you are.
Right. Because like the mirror shot, I was like, I didn't need the setup because I really don't know where he's standing.
So you got up there and you were like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to have a fake thing over here, and then they're going to cricket noise over there, and then he's going to go over there, and this guy's going to go over there, and I'm going to go into this door, and then I'm going to. He
did a lot of planning in the 2 seconds that he just got all of a sudden upstairs.
It's when you see it, you're like, oh, that's cool. But then, like, when you think back, you're like, it was so stupid the way they set this up. Like, it's so dumb that these guys like fell for that. Like, it's just so.
My other thing is his whole plan is to clear his name, right? Or that should be his goal.
Yes,
because he doesn't know about this
to prove
$30 million.
Kill him. Yeah,
yeah. So he doesn't know about this $30 million. He's got to prove his innocence. So the way he does that is by offing every single person who could possibly prove his innocence.
Right. And he doesn't know. And how stupid is it that when McCarthy Leo calls up Mason and DeFranco picks up the phone?
I'll get you. How you could have known you were dead, Raleigh.
It's like, why? So at that point, like I always thought, and this is probably because I know FX2 more, that Leo and Raleigh had a lot of scenes together. I always thought like he was helping him, and it was never that.
The way the movie like presents itself before you press play, like the description of the movie, I'm like, all right, so it's going to be a buddy cop at some point, buddy cop comedy at some point, and never became
that. And I wonder if I mean, an FX2 does kind of become that a little bit, if from what I remember, it never surfaced in this film, and I'm like, I don't understand. Like Leo has no idea what Raleigh's doing, has no idea what's happening. So why would he believe him? Why would he give him the bet? Like, why would anything? You know what I mean?
Well, he doesn't give him anything because he fakes his own death, which I don't understand the point of that.
Yeah.
Because then he leaves the morgue. Fun fact, they know you're alive now and you're still wanted because you've killed everyone who could possibly prove your innocence.
Yeah.
All that you've proved is you're in on it.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess we're supposed to believe that the makeup effects are so good that they couldn't tell it was a fake neck or a fake wrist. I mean, I like it. I think my biggest note for this film is like, I like that. It's so dumb that it works. Like, I like that. Yeah. It's so stupid that he did that. Like, it's like, I like that scene. It's so ridiculous that they set it up. Like, it's always like that. That's what's happening here with me with this movie.
Well, the neck thing I thought that was clever because I was like, but like they could check your hands and wrists, and then he takes off the wrist things. And I'm like, all right, so he got all the major arteries, checking. But clearly, by the time he got to the morgue, they would know.
Yeah.
When they got to more, like, by the time the saw came out, they'd be like, wait.
I'm alive.
But I have to kill you. Yeah, I don't understand any of that. What was his goal? Because he didn't know about that $30 million. $15 million. Yeah. I'm sorry. Like, I don't understand.
I don't understand why at the end of the film they decided just to take it. I don't understand why. Like, Leo was suspended. He wasn't fired. He was suspended.
Yeah, and he loved being a cop. Like that was his
now
whole
all of a
thing.
sudden we're just like, now let's go get this money.
Let's be thieves.
Well, not even thieves. Like it's because they're supposed to be the good. Yeah, I get it. They're thieves, but like they're taking bad money. And what are they gonna do with it? Like why? Why are you doing this? Why are you going down there?
That money is evidence. It's still evidence.
Yeah, I don't understand. They're gonna know that DeFranco had this fund. Like somebody's gonna know.
Exactly.
Yeah, it doesn't make any
sense.
At
least at the very least, you know who's gonna know? The other mob bosses that are going to find out that they did this and come after them.
Yeah.
And also, why is Mason so concerned about protecting DeFranco if it's only his face in Geneva that needs that $15 million?
Yeah, he
so clearly assumes, off DeFranco and go to Geneva.
Right. Yeah. There's a couple other things in here that I just don't like. The scene when Raleigh calls them, he calls Lipton. Right, he calls Mason or Lipton.
Oh, when they're in the building.
Roland Tyler's on the phone. And then how he does it, he puts the two phones together in the building, and then he's somewhere else. Okay, fine. But the problem is that Raleigh is the protagonist in this film. Why do I not hear him on the phone? Why do I have to just hear Mason?
Like, why is this a one-sided conversation?
Yeah, like he's the lead. He is the main character. I should hear him. Baffles me. Baffles me.
Across the street, say. Want to meet up, you say? Want to do this? Like, you wouldn't be saying, oh, this is so ridiculous.
Yeah.
He's in the building.
Did you get like Brian De Palma vibes with this film in terms of just the beginning, the first 30 minutes, maybe?
A little bit, yeah.
I almost think like if you gave this film to Brian De Palma, it would be much better. Like, and it's funny because my same note is for the same film. I like this movie to some extent, but when I sit here and talk about it, I don't understand why anything's happening. Like, I don't get why I like this film.
I'm sitting here realizing, like, I think I liked this movie, but all we're doing is like kind of crapping on it. But I think that's because it's a decent movie, but it's just covered in plot holes. Mm-hmm. It needed a pass at the script where it's like a plot hole pass. I feel like a movie, like any kind of mystery thing, needs a plot hole pass of just like this, and this. Just explain it.
Like even like the set design. Like, why does Captain Wallinger, Roscoe,
Have the smallest office?
not even that. No, not Roscoe Orman. And go watch back to this. The captain, why does he have a giant framed picture of himself on his desk? And it's clearly his headshot. Why is that on his desk? Like, I mean, are you kidding me? Like, who had the set design? I was like, let's put a picture of Roscoe. Because Captain Wallinger wants to look at himself when he's at his desk.
Damn, I looks good then.
like
the better days.
Like, pay attention. Like, and if that's the joke, fine. Put that in the note, please, because pay attention. Like, who did that? You know what's funny too is when Mason at the end of the movie, I noticed they have a back shot of Mason, Colonel Mason's character, Mason Adams, and I am like, oh shoot, he's got a hearing aid. He's got one of those.
Well, that's the first time you noticed. I noticed the whole.
No,
movie.
I didn't notice it, and they're like, oh, and then all of a sudden it becomes.
He uses it as superpower.
It becomes a part of where he's like, someone said, he turns it up like he's gonna hear. I'm like, oh, okay, now we're just using this.
I'm the same though. I go, whoa, this guy's got a superpower. He's got superpowers.
And he still couldn't find him. But like, yeah,
the whole movie, I'm like, does he really need the hearing aid? Couldn't they have taken it out for his scenes? Like, did he need it into the scenes?
Also, I'd like to know what exactly Raleigh uses. What does Raleigh need with clear, electrified, whatever
it kills DeFranco.
DeFranco runs into that electrifies him. It's supposed to be like this screen that it can be electrified and messes up his pacemaker. Why does Raleigh need that for special effects on a movie set? Explain to me what that's used for.
Raleigh's clearly a serial killer on the side.
What is that for? And like, why is he like, he's got this bag. He goes in like, I'm going to need this. I'm going to need this electrified. Yeah, I'm going to need that. Oh, totally. I'm going to need this. I'm going to need that. Like, what did you decide that you needed all this stuff? And I do not for a second buy that mirror frame thing fit in that bag. Like,
not to be that straight and not wrinkled. Yeah.
That is one of those giant, the lenticular things that they get that pull up.
Yeah, that's like
what that
new
is.
Sale now or whatever. Yeah.
That doesn't fit in that bag. Oh, and I like this movie. What is my problem? Why am I?
It's just got too many plot holes, too many things that aren't explained and just happen. Like, so the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Why is the credit sequence just flying over Geneva and Europe? Like, when is this? Come on.
So the credit sequence follows that they go to Geneva, they get the money. I notice like, yeah, we got the money. I'm like, wait, what? They took this money? Anyways, they drive off. And it looks like they're going into the hills, and you follow the car, and I'm just like, is there something gonna happen? Are they gonna walk into somebody? And then like it goes off. But Butler, if you notice,
the car's on the side of the road, and they're getting out of the car.
They're like, and the car is stopped on the side of the road, and I'm pretty sure one of them's shirtless. And they're like, and I'm like, did the car break down? Is this just like
they're just like as far as we go, we're done.
And like you're like, yeah, we're stuck, we can't get out. Oh, don't worry, they'll take it, they'll use it. Like, so what are we saying here? Like, I have no idea.
I noticed the same thing.
Is in LA. It's out in California this time.
Okay.
At this point. And I couldn't even tell you how they're out there or what's going on. I don't even know what the hell's going on FX2. I just remember there's a clown that he can move.
I watched the trailer. There's a clown that happens a lot.
It's about like he can mimic his thing. He can mimic his motions. Like that's what they use it for. But like that's the only thing I remember. And they fake a death or something like that. I don't.
It's like, but like, no. How is he getting back in the country? He's still a wanted man. His passport would not work. He couldn't get to Geneva because he can't get across the country.
I don't know, man. This I have no idea. Did you see that there was released with a different title because they thought that FX wouldn't work? They called
in Australia or whatever. Yeah.
Murder by Illusion. And then FX2 is called The Deadly Art of Illusion.
Because they didn't think anybody back then would know what FX is.
It didn't help. Roger Ebert, quote, "This movie takes a lot of delight in being more psychologically complex than it has to be. It contains fights and shootouts and big chase scenes, but they're all firmly centered on who the characters are and what they mean to one another."
What movie did he watch?
I would counter that with like, I would counter with the fact that like Raleigh doesn't learn anything. I mean, I get it. It's the character like in the moment of this movie, like Raleigh and Andy need to get away. I get it. You know, and they get away, they put the smoke bomb, they blow up and they drive off. Mickey's got a little bit of like the character, the the cop that's chasing him and they put the fake dead body down like that.
Sure,
so
yeah.
I get it. There's stuff in there, but on the whole, they don't know. The characters don't learn anything except Leo. Leo learns that he can never be the cop he wants to be. So I'm just gonna go steal money and be the person I want to be.
But what's his last line there? Like how the characters relate to each other?
But they're all firmly centered. So the fights, the shootouts, and the chase scenes are firmly centered on who the characters are and what they mean to one another. So he's talking.
So what the fights mean to one another, not necessarily what the characters mean to one another.
No, what they mean in this like Andy and Raleigh, like who they mean to each other in the scene.
But you don't really get to know that because he never admits anything because he's always just a big jerk.
So like,
Leo and Raleigh aren't together, and then Leo and Mickey are separated for like the second half of their entire investigation.
Yeah, I know. So this reminds me too, and I'll get to the next one, the next review. When Andy's in the back of the van and they're being chased, and she's throwing stuff out at them, and she's got the strap in, and she's strapped in.
Very Mad Max.
But why? Well, let me ask you a question. Why does a special effects fan need that strap? Why does that need that?
I assume for testing, because you got to test the stuff before you put it on any of the other stuff. So he's just got it to show, like, hey, we can do this.
No. Why did they have the leather strap so she doesn't fall out of the back of a van when the van's driving? Why does she need that? Why does the special effects fan need that?
To show off that they have that for stunts. It's almost like it's the stupidest thing, but it's like the effects fan is like it drives around from town to town going, hey, you doing a movie? I can show you this. Here. It's like nobody has a special effects. He's not an ice cream truck driver. He's in his studio. There's no like truck that goes like, it's like a food truck for special effects.
Tacos, no, special effects, my man. What do you need?
I get why it would have it in theory if that was a thing, but special effect trucks like that aren't things.
Paul Anastasio from the Washington Post praised Brian Dennehy's performance. Quote, Dennehy brings magic to the role. He's large and he enlarges it with his sly eyes and little can opener of a nose. Calm down, Paul. His shoulders are yard wide, his hair massing in gray curls behind his ears. He dances through the movie like Mastodon in toe shoes. Paul.
We need to give Paul a minute with this movie alone in a room.
You are a big Dennehy.
Give him a box of tissues and some lotion.
Listen, man, it's fine. That's completely fine. Go for it. But like,
Paul's watching this movie for something else.
I love you, Brian. You can choke me out anytime. Butler, why? Okay. Who would you recommend this movie to? Because I still firmly sit here saying I like this film.
No, me too. I would recommend this to anybody who likes like 90s or 80s action movies. Like we'll make fun of it. It's like a solid version. It's interesting. It does something. It's got a shtick no one does with the special effects thing. Almost like an amateur-y James Bond kind of a thing. And Brian Dennehy is great. As Leo, Brian, what's the other Brian?
Bryan Brown.
Bryan Brown. He's all right. It's not, I don't think, because I've seen him in other things and I know I like Bryan Brown. I know he's a good actor. And he's
better in Cocktail.
Yes.
I like him better in Cocktail.
I just feel like the way Raleigh is written is to be this jerk. And it's not his fault that he doesn't get a chance to say things to someone else, like say things to Andy or say things to his girlfriend that aren't just like, he's just not written with a dialogue response, which makes him seem cold.
Raleigh, the way Bryan Brown plays Raleigh in this film is almost like this is like the Cocktail character when he was younger. Because in Cocktail, he is somebody who has learned that lesson already. And he's somebody who just wants to retire, but he has been down that road that Tom Cruise's character has been down. And he's like, he knows where it's going to head. He's wiser for it. He's not a great guy, but he knows that. So like, I think he's a little bit more assured, knows himself more in Cocktail. In this film, it feels like it's the younger version. He doesn't know. He hasn't learned any of these lessons yet. And he doesn't learn them in this one.
Right. So it's like, I can't say like I know he's a great actor, but like the main character is kind of a jerk, but Leo's great, but you don't meet Leo for a half hour into the movie.
Sure.
But,
it's not his film though.
Yeah. But the special effects stuff's great. The storyline is interesting of like hiring a special effects guy to fake a mob hit. And then it becomes kind of like embroiled in that. Like the basic plot's good. And while you're watching it, it's a really fun time. It moves really quick. The special effects stuff is cool. It's got action. Like I said, the cop stuff's really interesting.
Yeah. If this was 2 hours, I don't think we'd be feeling the same way.
Yeah, no. So I think that works. And I think that I don't think they go heavy enough on the shtick, but I think it's a solid late 80s, early 90s action flick. I would recommend it to most people, I think my age, that really like those movies. That I think I never hear anybody talk about it, which is the reason we do Forgotten Cinema. But yeah, I'm surprised. Like until you started talking about it on this podcast, I had never heard of it. So I'm glad I got to watch it. And I think I would recommend it to people that like those kind of movies.
Why is it forgotten then?
Because no one talks about it with the rest of those kind of movies. I think it's lower on the chain. It probably 1986. When was Lethal Weapon?
87?
87. Die Hard's 86 as
88.
well. 88.
Yeah.
Die Hard's 88. So like you're starting to get all these other movies that are going to surpass it.
Bryan Brown's not Bruce Willis. He's not Mel Gibson.
Yeah, he's not a huge name.
He's not, and he doesn't do a lot. It's not like those are action films. This is like almost action adjacent. There's not a lot that he's doing like little tricks and stuff like that. It's not really, fighting people. And
he does fight the assassin, but yeah,
but he's not like John McClane style.
Sure.
Fighting.
And Brian Dennehy, he's a great actor, and he's like a critically acclaimed actor, not necessarily a put butts in the seat actor.
But also, and I think this is also fair to say that, Bryan Brown's an Australian actor. I mean, this is the 80s. It's not really like people aren't.
The international thing isn't really
right. It's not really going to be something that people are going to like. And, or not like, but just kind of not connect with because he's Australian. Like he's Australian. It's not like Crocodile Dundee where he's a fish out of water and he's in New York and it's just like, oh, he's Australian.
It's funny.
Yeah.
Oh, guy with funny accent, not where he's supposed to be.
Yeah, I know. So he, you're like, that's like if Chris Hemsworth played Thor, but he played it with his natural accent, his Australian accent. I think people would be like,
sure.
It's not going to affect the movie because it's Marvel, but this is 1986. I think that's tough for people to kind of connect with. I think that kind of goes that way too.
Sure. Yeah.
Does he have the accent in Cocktail? No, right?
I think he does.
Does he?
Maybe it's been a while since I've seen Cocktail, but I think he does have the accent in Cocktail.
Yeah, maybe he just can't do an American accent.
So yeah, I think all those things kind of work against it. Just the bigger movies there, but I think it's got a cool thing. It had a TV show that ran for 2 seasons in 96.
Like I know you wanted to talk about like what you could do with this film. Like I don't want a TV show because I think it will get very stale very fast.
No, but I think
every week he does a super special effect to get him out of his jam. Ugh, come on.
I know one episode is a convict who assassinated a senator or something in the 1970s. They dressed up a set and tried to confuse him to make it think he was back in time in the 70s to try to figure out the secrets of why he assassinated this person.
Ugh.
But I think it would absolutely work as another movie series, maybe like a Netflix or Amazon or Apple. Like I think you could do it for a lower budget.
Mm-hmm.
I think, like you said, being able to point out all these other movies that are real movies, like this would be a perfect episode for our pitch deck series we talk about. But like, I think this could absolutely be remade, and you could do something cool with it. Maybe something more akin to like. I know you weren't the biggest fan, but something like Fall Guy, where celebrates like Fall Guy celebrates stunts. Like I think FX should celebrate FX a little bit more than maybe the movie does.
The lead can't. He's got to be like a nerdy dude. He's got to be somebody who's.
He can't be someone
like a Rick Moranis.
He's got to be someone who's succeeding only based on his special effects.
He can be smart, but he can't be like wily. Like he can't be like somebody who could fight people.
I don't think he can be James Bond smart. And he can't be someone who's winning fist fights with trained assassins.
No.
That's silly.
No. I couldn't a movie, yes. I couldn't see this as a TV series. It would it just wouldn't last.
I could see it as a movie series where you can maybe do a couple of them.
Oh, sure.
If it's successful.
I meant like a 16, 18 episode series.
Yeah, no, you're not continuing it like that.
Exactly.
But yeah, I could definitely see this getting remade.
I will say this, the opening shot where they had the computer generated buildings and they would slowly match the skyline and they would blend the image of the building and dissolve that whole thing, that whole.
That was neat.
That's actually a really impressive shot for the 80s.
For the 80s,
That's got to be multiple layers of shots and plates and you match the skyline. And then I'm like, I was impressed with that shot. I was like, wow, I like for the 80s. I was like, that's a really nice opening. But too bad it gets.
Also, I don't know what movie they're making at the beginning, but that guy kills everybody.
Right.
In the opening shootout. Yeah. I'm like, what movie is this? In the 80s, that would not have been very appropriate. He's like murdering the women too. I'm like, whoa, I'd watch it though.
Where can they find us?
You can find us at ForgottenCinemaPodcast.com or wherever you're listening to this podcast, or YouTube, Spotify, Apple, all those places. While you're there, please rate, comment, subscribe. All that stuff really does help our podcast grow. Let us know what you thought about FX or what's your favorite 1980s or 90s action movie. And you can also support us on Patreon. We have a Patreon where we do exclusive episodes just for our Patreon members. We, I don't know exactly where we are. I think we're This comes out in November, maybe December. I'm sure we have something out.
I think we are in the first week of December, if not the last week of November. No, I'm sorry. We're in November right now.
Okay.
We're in November.
So we got Gladiator stuff coming. We got the episode for Gladiator coming at you, leading up to our Gladiator 2 now showing episode. So you can see the
Butler's
Gladiator
trying to get me to
episode on
watch
Patreon.
Joker too. Whatever.
Which by the time you're watching this, we probably already have.
Makaj Fall, right?
I can't pronounce it. So just you can go on the Patreon, all that exclusive stuff, early access to episodes, merch store discounts, Discord access where you can talk movies with us. All that stuff's on Patreon. Check it out. Check out our merch store and just, stick right here on Forgotten Cinema and check out all our episodes.
Next week, we're going to go to the 70s. 70s film that Butler has never seen. The Robert Redford movie, The Candidate. This is as political as it gets on the show. We're going to be doing The Candidate. You ever see that? Do you remember the movie?
I know of it. But
so it's Robert Redford.
It's more political than The Ides of March.
Oh, well, I meant like in terms of like these are the movies we do. Like
right.
So The Candidate, Robert Redford is an idealistic candidate. Basically, he doesn't want to run, and then he runs. Then it turns him into something that he hates the most. So it's Robert Redford. So we're in for a good show. So I hope you like it. I liked it.
He better turn into a villain at the end.
He does. He turns into a villain and he does all sorts of tricks and stuff and fights people. It's great.
Yeah.
All right. So that's next week. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'm Mike Field.
I'm Mike Butler.
And this has been Forgotten Cinema.